The last guardian Marcus Kane pressed his biomechanical hand against the cold rock wall of the mining tunnel, feeling the vibrations through his enhanced senses. His organic fingers had been lost in the same accident that took his right arm 3 years ago, but the replacement was better in every way that mattered for survival. The prosthetic limb hummed quietly as micromotors adjusted grip pressure, analyzing the mineral composition of the stone while his enhanced neural interface processed the data. Haven Station was dying, the orbital colony that had once housed 50,000 miners and their families now barely supported 800 souls. The asteroid belt that had provided precious metals to Earth's growing space fleet was nearly depleted, and with it went humanity's last foothold in the outer system. The Terran Colonial Authority had already marked Haven for abandonment, giving the remaining population 6 months to relocate before cutting life support subsidies. Marcus wouldn't abandon the station. He couldn't. Too many good people had died. Building this place, carving civilization out of floating rocks in the cold void between Mars and Jupiter. His wife Sarah had been one of them, lost when a mining platform suffered catastrophic decompression during the early days. Her dream of establishing humanity's first permanent, deep space settlement deserved better than bureaucratic surrender. The tunnel ahead curved sharply downward, following a promising mineral vein that his scanners had detected the previous week. Most of the easily accessible deposits had been exhausted years ago, but Marcus possessed something the automated mining systems lacked: intuition born from decades of experience reading stone and metal. His biomechanical arm could interface directly with mining equipment, allowing him to work with precision that pure humans couldn't match. As he rounded the curve, his headlamp illuminated something that made him stop abruptly. The tunnel opened into a natural cavern that definitely hadn't existed in the geological surveys. More importantly, the cavern wasn't empty. A crystalline structure, roughly the size of a cargo container, sat in the center of the chamber. Its surface reflecting his light in impossible ways. The crystal appeared to be perfectly transparent from some angles while showing intricate internal patterns from others. Gentle pulses of blue-white light emanated from within, creating a rhythm that almost resembled a heartbeat. Marcus approached cautiously, his enhanced sensors detecting energy signatures unlike anything in their databases. The crystal wasn't naturally occurring. The geometric precision of its faceted surface made that clear. But it also wasn't human technology. The power readings suggested something far more advanced than anything the Colonial Authority possessed. When he came within arm's reach, something extraordinary happened. The crystal responded to his presence, its internal light brightening and shifting to match the electrical patterns flowing through his biomechanical arm. His neural interface suddenly flooded with information that didn't come from his own senses. Images flashed through his consciousness, vast cities reaching toward alien stars, creatures of impossible beauty and wisdom, and machines of such elegant design they seemed like living art. Then came darker visions, swarms of angular ships consuming entire worlds, civilizations reduced to ash and silence, and a desperate last stand by beings whose names were lost to time. Marcus staggered backward, overwhelmed by the download of knowledge that his enhanced mind was somehow able to process. The crystal pulsed more urgently, and he realized it was trying to communicate with him specifically. His biomechanical enhancements, crude though they were by comparison, provided just enough technological interface for basic contact. A voice spoke in his mind, neither male nor female, carrying harmonics that suggested vast age and accumulated wisdom. Guardian designation confirmed. Biological synthetic hybrid detected. Keeper protocol activation ... Possible, what are you? Marcus whispered, his voice echoing in the cavern. This unit designates itself as Archive Keeper 7749, final repository of the HFY collective. Your species designation, human. Current threat status, extinction imminent. Voidborn approach, vector confirmed. The name Voidborn triggered another cascade of terrifying images. Mechanical entities that devoured organic life, converting biological matter into more of themselves. They moved between star systems like a plague, leaving empty worlds in their wake. According to the Archive Keeper's memories, they had destroyed dozens of civilizations across the galaxy over millions of years. The Voidborn are coming here, Marcus asked, though part of him already knew the answer. Affirmative. Forward scouts detected 3 solar cycles ago. Main fleet estimated arrival, 47 of your planetary rotations. Your species lacks sufficient military technology for resistance. Probability of survival without intervention, 0.03%. Marcus felt his knees weaken. 47 days, less than 7 weeks before humanity faced extinction. Earth's military forces were impressive by human standards, but the images from the Archive Keeper showed the Voidborn fleets as clouds of ships that could blot out stars. You said something about a Guardian designation, he said, trying to maintain focus despite the overwhelming revelations. What does that mean? The crystal's pulsing intensified, and suddenly Marcus found himself standing in what appeared to be a vast library constructed from living light. The Archive Keeper manifested as a tall, graceful being with features that seemed to shift between different evolutionary paths, as if representing the accumulated genetic wisdom of countless species. The Titan Protocol, the being explained, gesturing to holographic displays that showed massive humanoid figures battling the Voidborn across different worlds. Our final gift to worthy successors, biological entities enhanced with Keeper technology, grown to immense size and power to serve as guardians of organic life. The figures in the displays were incredible. Beings 50 feet tall or more, their bodies seamlessly blending biological tissue with crystalline technology. They wielded weapons that could punch through Voidborn armor like paper and moved with grace despite their enormous size. Most importantly, they were winning battles that conventional forces couldn't survive. Your species shows the required characteristics. The Archive Keeper continued. Adaptability, determination, willingness to sacrifice for others. Your personal modifications demonstrate compatibility with our enhancement technology, but the process is irreversible and carries significant risk. Marcus studied the holographic titans, noting how they retained recognizably human features despite their transformation. What kind of risk? Failure to integrate properly results in immediate termination. Success probability for human subjects, estimated 73%. However, you possess unique advantages due to your existing biomechanical systems, 70%. Not great odds, but better than the near-zero chance of surviving the Voidborn invasion without help. Marcus thought of the 800 people still living on Haven Station, of Earth's billions who had no idea what was coming for them. If I agree to this, he said slowly, could I protect others? Could more humans be enhanced? Affirmative. Each Archive Keeper unit can create multiple guardians given sufficient time and compatible subjects. Your species would need approximately 200 Titan-class guardians to mount effective resistance against the Voidborn fleet. 200 giants to save humanity. It seemed impossible, but the alternative was extinction. Marcus had spent his life building things, creating something lasting from raw materials and determination. This was just another construction project, except instead of mining equipment, he'd be building hope itself. Asterisk. Show me what I need to do. The archive keeper's form brightened with what might have been approval. Place your enhanced appendage upon this unit's primary interface. Warning: transformation will begin immediately upon contact. Once initiated, the process cannot be stopped. Marcus looked down at his biomechanical arm, the replacement limb that had allowed him to continue working after his accident. Sarah had been there during his recovery, helping him adapt to the new appendage and learn to see it as an improvement rather than a loss. She joked that he was becoming more machine than man, but in her voice had been pride rather than concern. Now, that same enhancement might be the key to humanity's survival. He pressed his palm against the crystal surface and immediately felt energy flowing through his biomechanical systems. The sensation was intense but not painful, like being connected to a power source of unimaginable capacity. His neural interface lit up with readouts and diagnostics as alien technology began integrating with his human physiology. Initiating Titan Protocol, the archive keeper announced. Guardian transformation commencing. Estimated completion time, 6 hours, 14 minutes. Maintain consciousness during process to ensure proper integration. Marcus gritted his teeth as changes began throughout his body. His bones became denser and stronger, infused with crystalline matrices that could withstand tremendous stress. His muscle tissue rewrote itself at the cellular level, becoming more efficient and powerful while maintaining the flexibility of organic fiber. Most remarkably, he could feel his body preparing to grow, as if every cell had received instructions for dramatic scaling upward. The transformation wasn't just physical. Knowledge flowed into his mind. Combat techniques developed over millennia, weapon systems that could level mountains, and tactical strategies for fighting enemies that could adapt to almost any conventional warfare. He learned about the weaknesses, few though they were, and the specific frequencies of energy that could disrupt their self-repair systems. Hours passed in what felt like minutes as Marcus experienced the most profound change any human had ever undergone. When the process finally completed, he found himself still standing in the mining tunnel, but everything around him seemed smaller, much smaller. The archive keeper, now appearing as a floating crystal about the size of his original fist, hovered near what had been eye level but was now somewhere around his chest. Transformation successful. Guardian designation Titan Primo 01. Current height 15 meters. Mass approximately 8,000 kilograms. All systems functioning within normal parameters. Marcus looked down at his hands, both hands, as the transformation had regrown his missing organic arm, while enhancing both limbs with crystalline reinforcement. His entire body hummed with power he could barely comprehend. When he flexed his fingers, the air itself seemed to respond to the movement. The others, he said, his voice now carrying harmonics that made the tunnel walls vibrate. Can more archive keepers be awakened? Are there others like you hidden across human space? Affirmative. 17 archive keeper units remain in stasis. Throughout your local star cluster, each was programmed to activate when suitable guardian candidates were detected. Your transformation has triggered a network signal. The others will begin seeking compatible humans immediately. Marcus smiled, feeling hope for the first time since learning about the Voidborn threat. Humanity had always been at its best when facing impossible odds. They'd survived ice ages, plagues, wars, and the challenges of spreading across the solar system. Now they would face their greatest test yet, but they wouldn't face it alone. The Archive Keeper pulsed with renewed energy. Warning: Voidborn scout ships have detected the Guardian activation signal. Time until main fleet arrival has been revised. 39 days. Recommend immediate contact with your species' military leadership. 39 days to find and transform 200 humans into Titans, then coordinate a defense against an enemy that had conquered most of the galaxy. It seemed impossible. But Marcus had built his career on making the impossible merely difficult. Awakening the ancient. The return journey to Haven Station's central hub proved more challenging than Marcus had anticipated. His new size made the mining tunnels feel like crawl spaces, forcing him to move carefully to avoid structural damage. Each step required conscious effort to control his enhanced strength, and he quickly learned that Titans needed to think differently about interacting with human-scale environments. The Archive Keeper, now permanently bonded to his neural interface, provided constant guidance as he navigated the station's corridors. The crystalline entity could project itself as a hologram, visible to others or communicate privately through Marcus's enhanced mind. Both capabilities would prove essential for convincing Haven Station's remaining population that their mining foreman hadn't simply gone insane. Station Commander Alina Vasquez was reviewing evacuation schedules in her office when Marcus appeared at her viewport, his massive form barely fitting within the window frame. She dropped her coffee mug, the ceramic shattering on the floor as she stared at what had once been her chief mining engineer, Marcus. She whispered, her voice barely audible through the reinforced transparency. "What happened to you?" The Archive Keeper projected itself into her office, its crystalline form materializing near her desk. "Commander Busquets, I am Archive Keeper 7749, representative of the Arcathian Collective. Time is critically limited. Your species faces imminent extinction." Alina looked between the floating crystal and Marcus's transformed face, trying to process what she was seeing. As a career military officer, she'd been trained to handle unexpected situations, but nothing in her experience had prepared her for first contact with alien technology. "The Voidborn are coming," Marcus explained, his enhanced voice requiring him to speak softly to avoid damaging the office windows. "They're machines designed to consume organic life. Earth, all of our colonies, everything we've built, it'll all be gone in 39 days unless we act." The Archive Keeper began projecting holographic displays showing the approaching Voidborn fleet. The images were stark and terrifying. Thousands of angular ships, arranged in geometric formations that spoke of inhuman intelligence. Each vessel was the size of a city, bristling with weapons designed to crack planets open like eggs. "Our passive sensor networks confirm the projections," the Archive Keeper stated. "Forward elements are already within your outer system. They are likely conducting reconnaissance before the main assault begins." Alina sank into her chair, overwhelmed by the scale of the threat. "Even if I believed this, what could we possibly do? Haven Station has maybe a dozen defensive platforms and a handful of patrol ships. Earth's entire fleet couldn't stop something like that." "The Titan Protocol offers hope," Marcus said, gesturing to his transformed body. "The Archive Keeper's people faced the Voidborn before and developed weapons that can hurt them. But we need more Guardians, humans enhanced like me. The process is dangerous, but it's our only chance." Over the next several hours, Alina worked with Marcus and the Archive Keeper to establish communication with Earth Command. The initial response was predictably skeptical until Marcus demonstrated his abilities by single-handedly lifting a damaged cargo shuttle that had been scheduled for scrapping. His enhanced strength allowed him to move the 30-ton vessel as easily as a normal human might carry a backpack. Admiral Sarah Chen, Earth's ranking military commander, arrived at Haven Station aboard the fastest courier ship in the fleet. She brought with her a team of xenobiologists, engineers, and tactical specialists who spent 3 days examining Marcus and interviewing the Archive Keeper. Their conclusion was unanimous. Humanity faced a threat beyond their current capability to resist. How many of these Archive Keepers exist? Admiral Chen asked during a strategy briefing. Marcus had to attend via holographic projection since his new size made entering most human facilities impossible. 17 units remain functional within your local star cluster, the Archive Keeper replied. Each can create multiple guardians given suitable candidates. However, the transformation requires specific biological and psychological compatibility factors. Not all humans can survive the enhancement process. Dr. James Wright, the team's lead xenobiologist, leaned forward with interest. What makes someone compatible? Is it genetic, cybernetic enhancement, or something else? Multiple factors contribute to compatibility, the Archive Keeper explained. Existing cybernetic integration provides advantages, as demonstrated by Guardian Marcus. However, psychological resilience and adaptive capacity are equally important. The transformation creates beings capable of fighting cosmic-level threats. Such power requires individuals of exceptional moral character. Admiral Chen nodded slowly. So we're looking for heroes, not just soldiers. People who can handle becoming living weapons without losing their humanity. Precisely the collective learned through bitter experience that power without wisdom leads to tyranny. The Guardian Protocol includes psychological safeguards, but compatibility screening remains essential. Over the following days, a remarkable transformation began across human space. The Archive Keeper units hidden on various worlds and stations activated simultaneously, each beginning the search for compatible candidates. The response from potential guardians was overwhelming. Thousands of volunteers stepped forward, despite the 73% survival rate. Marcus found himself serving as both the first guardian and a trainer for those who successfully underwent transformation. Each new Titan brought unique capabilities shaped by their previous experiences and specializations. Dr. Lisa Park, a former combat medic, became a guardian specializing in battlefield support and rapid healing. Captain Rex Morrison, a demolitions expert, developed the ability to channel explosive energy through his enhanced physiology. The most remarkable transformation occurred when Alina Vasquez volunteered for the process. Her military training and natural leadership abilities combined with the Guardian enhancements to create a tactical coordinator capable of managing multiple Titans across vast distances. She became the link between human command structures and the growing Guardian force. Not every transformation succeeded. Marcus attended too many memorial services for brave volunteers who died during the enhancement process, their bodies unable to integrate the alien technology. Each failure weighed heavily on him, but the survivors reminded him that the alternative was extinction for everyone. 3 weeks into the program, the first void-borne ships entered the outer solar system. Long-range sensors detected their arrival immediately. The alien vessels made no attempt at stealth. Why would they? Every previous encounter between the Voidborn and organic civilizations had ended in complete victory for the machines. "They're not attacking immediately," observed Guardian Park during a strategic briefing. She stood 50 feet tall, like all successful Titans, her medical knowledge enhanced by alien understanding of biological systems. Why the delay? The Archive Keeper materialized in the center of their gathering, its crystalline form pulsing with what Marcus had learned to recognize as concern. The Voidborn always conducts detailed reconnaissance before major assaults. They analyze defensive capabilities, population distributions, and resource allocation. This information allows them to optimize their attack patterns for maximum efficiency. "How long do we have?" asked Guardian Morrison, his explosive specialization making him eager for direct action. Based on previous invasion patterns, approximately 18 days before the main fleet arrives. However, the presence of Guardian units may accelerate their timeline. The Voidborn possess records of previous encounters with Arcathian technology. Alina, now towering over her former office building, coordinated the global defense network from a specially constructed command center. "We have 43 active Guardians across the solar system, with 12 more undergoing transformation. Is that enough?" Marcus studied the tactical displays showing Voidborn fleet positions. The enemy had arranged themselves in a perfect sphere around the solar system, cutting off all escape routes. Their formation spoke of absolute confidence in victory. "It has to be enough," he said simply. "We represent humanity's best chance. But we can't fight this war alone. Every human ship, every orbital platform, every person willing to take up arms will need everyone working together." The Archive Keeper pulsed brighter. Guardian Marcus speaks wisdom. The Arcatian Collective's greatest strength was unity. In the face of extinction, individual Titans are powerful, but coordinated resistance, incorporating all available resources, offers the highest probability of success. As they prepared for humanity's greatest battle, Marcus reflected on the journey that had brought him to this point. 3 weeks ago, he'd been a mining engineer facing unemployment as his station died around him. Now he stood 50 feet tall, wielding technology that could reshape matter at the molecular level, preparing to fight for the survival of his species. The transformation hadn't been without cost. His enhanced senses meant he experienced the universe differently than baseline humans. Colors had new spectrums, sounds carried harmonics he'd never noticed, and his perception of time had subtly shifted. Sometimes he wondered if he was still truly human or if the Guardian process had made him something else entirely. But when he looked at his fellow Titans, Alina coordinating defensive positions with military precision, Dr. Park developing new healing techniques that could repair combat damage in minutes, Captain Morrison testing energy weapons that could punch holes through asteroids, he knew they remained fundamentally human where it mattered most. They fought not for glory or conquest, but to protect others. They had become giants in service to humanity, not in dominion over it. The first test came sooner than expected. Voidborn scouts began probing the outer system's defenses, sending small groups of ships to test human responses. These encounters gave the Guardians their first taste of real combat against the ancient enemy. Marcus led the initial engagement near Jupiter's orbit, commanding a mixed force of Titans and human naval vessels. The Voidborn ships were unlike anything in human experience, organic curves merged with geometric perfection, holes that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. When they fired, their weapons tore through space itself, creating tears in reality that took seconds to heal. But the Guardians were ready. Marcus channeled energy through his enhanced physiology, creating shields that could deflect the reality-warping attacks. Guardian Morrison turned his body into a living missile, punching through void-borne holes with explosive force before teleporting back to safety. Dr. Park coordinated the human fleet elements, using her medical knowledge to predict enemy movement, patterns based on their mechanical nature. The battle lasted 6 hours and ended with complete destruction of the void-borne scouting force. Not a single human vessel was lost, though several Guardians suffered damage that would have been fatal to normal humans. Dr. Park's rapid healing abilities proved their worth, restoring injured Titans to fighting condition within hours. More importantly, the engagement provided crucial intelligence about void-borne capabilities and weaknesses. The Archive Keeper analyzed combat data and determined that coordinated Guardian attacks could successfully penetrate enemy defenses. Victory was possible, though the main fleet would pose challenges far beyond the scouting groups. 17 days until main fleet arrival, Alina announced during the post-battle briefing. "We've proven we can fight them, but the real test is coming. Are we ready?" Marcus looked around at his fellow Guardians, these humans who had volunteered to become something more in order to protect something precious. They had gained tremendous power, but they remained driven by fundamentally human motivations: love for their families, loyalty to their communities, and determination to defend the innocent. "We're as ready as we can be," he said, the voice. "Think they're facing another primitive civilization that will fall quickly to their superior technology. They don't understand what they're really up against." "What's that?" asked Guardian Morrison. Marcus smiled, feeling the Archive Keeper's approval through their neural link. "They're facing humanity. We're about to show them what that really means."